Sarath is a recent MBA graduate from IIM Bangalore, where he was ranked in the top 5% of his class. Before that, he graduated from IIT Guwahati with a major in chemical engineering and a minor in mathematics, earning the prestigious Dr. Dayal Shankar Gold Medal for all-round excellence. His incredible journey includes over 3 years of experience in tech consulting and product management across B2B fintech platforms, alongside with his leadership roles as a vice president of IIT Guwahati's Student Gymkhana Council. Currently, Sir is working with uh, Sir is working with McKinsey and bringing valuable insights into solving business challenges. Today, he will be sharing strategies to crack business case problems backed with real-world experience and practical wisdom. Now, I'd like to invite Sir to take on the further session.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kahan. Super glad to be talking to all of you. I think it's a pleasure to always come back to these kind of forums and give information, give gyan essentially. But I just don't want this to be a simple, session where I'm just talking, but we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. I've been to multiple of these sessions. I was one of the few students who would keep the camera off and sit down. I've been there, done that. So I could perfectly know how it is to be on the other side now. So, but it would always be great if you could treat this as a session where the two of us are also learning, which means that, at the end of the session, you should feel like you've gained something. So just feel free to question anything that you want. Don't think of me as someone who is like 8, 10 years older to you. I'm just one of you, one of the many students of learning in general. Cool. So with that, let's get started, folks. I was just asking the group earlier to just get a sense of who all is joining the call. Folks who are in their undergrad, in the first and second year, I think I just saw around 10, 15 folks are there. What about folks who are in the third and fourth year? Anyone in the third and fourth year of their undergrad? Okay, so we have a few people who are in the third and fourth year. Great. Super. Yeah, can I request you to lower your hands? Great. Folks who are out of their undergrad and currently working or pursuing some kind of masters? Anyone? Super. That is quite a few. So we have a good mix, I think, guys, ranging from first year of undergrad to even folks who are in their work experience, part doing the work experience now, as well as folks in the postgrad. Great. That gives me a good starting point. Let me bring up my screen. Okay. Um, so I know you all wanted to understand more about consulting, but the session is not essentially only about consulting. In fact, I like to think of consulting as a method of problem solving. So I'm going to talk a lot about problem solving today, and you'll understand how that links back to how it could be useful for you in anything, right? Not just in preparing or aspiring to be consultants, but also in anything that you want to do. The framework of problem solving stands true against anything, right? So it's useful for every situation. Uh, okay. So who am I, right? So I think Kahan was kind enough to give me a bit of an introduction, but just to help you guys understand more about me, I'm Sarath. At the core, if I question what I really enjoy doing over the last 6, 7 years, is I just love solving problems, right? So, and I try to see that element in my work as well. Right now, I work with McKinsey. That's also a consulting company. And at McKinsey, we just work with clients to understand what's that one big problem that the CEO wants to solve, right? That will help them move the needle. And we just painstakingly go and drill down on that one big problem and try to solve it with them, right? That's what I do at work right now. Even before McKinsey, I was finishing my MBA at IIM Bangalore. And the 2 years of business school essentially is a huge toolkit for one to just understand how to solve problems, but with a different perspective, right? So for instance, 11th and 12th gives you a perspective of solving problems from the sense of, maths, physics, chemistry, biology, whatever, right? From a very subjects perspective, not very first principled. Undergrad gives you a sense of, your first exposure to placements, your first exposure to recruiting, first exposure to internship. You understand the real world a little bit better. You understand how to solve things for different situations, right? Be it solving for the internship or be it solving for, once you get into that, let's say you're part of the consulting analytics club, right? So your problem statement is now to organize the session, right? How do you solve that session, right? That's also a way of solving a problem, right? So all of these situations are put in front of you. And eventually, once you graduate, you also have work to do, and that's where you're again solving problems, right? So just taking a step back. So before my MBA, I worked for 3 years. I worked for 3 years at this company called FICO, where I was doing a bunch of work in helping banks digitize their processes, which meant sometimes I was coding, which meant I was also doing a bit of product management and also consulting these banks in helping them improve their process. At IIT Guwahati, I spent 4 years there doing a bunch of things, not just chemical engineering. But I think three things which sort of stood out from my IIT Guwahati journey was, in general, how to be curious, how to get more confident, right? So I think for those of you who are still part of their undergrad journey, just go ahead and explore everything under the sun that you can. It just gives you confidence to do much bigger things later in life, right? So that's one thing I did enjoy at IIT Guwahati. And thirdly, it was my first exposure to what consulting is all about, given that there was this club like Consulting Analytics also existing back then. In fact, I was a member of this club way back in 2017 or 18. So things like that gave me exposure to what kind of career roles are out there and what could be interesting for me, right? I was able to build a selection set of a shorter set of companies or career opportunities that I would like to explore. That was what my ID Guwahati journey sort of looked like. Outside of work, folks, I am typically into football. I do play the sport around Bangalore in some of those 5x5 turfs, and I also follow the sport. I also do a bit of running and, in general, just binge watch shows and stuff, right? And just this classic outside of work stuff. So, just so that I get a sense, right? The way I've split this interaction is in three halves, or sorry, three parts. The first part is where you already saw me talking about myself, giving you a glimpse as to where I came from. I will also spend a little bit of time as to why I chose consulting in the first place, so that gives you a bit of a head start. That's the first part. Second part is where I would be just giving you a little bit of information around what I spoke earlier, right? How do you solve problems, right? How do you structure your thoughts? That's second part. And the third, or rather three of the four parts, right? Third part is where we just do one sample case together. This is just so that we test whatever we have learned so far and give all of you on the call a perspective of how to just think about things, right? That's the third part, an example case. And the fourth part is us just talking about. So just so that I get a sense of what everyone's expecting on the call, could you just scan this QR code and get onto Menti and just enter what you want to just talk about in the next 20 to 30 minutes? I'll just check if we have, oops, just a second. Okay,
I'll share this in the chat, the QR code.
yeah, you please do.
Yeah.
This is the QR code, guys. Okay, so we have a bunch of responses already. Okay. I think people want to just check the QR code, right? So this is the QR code. Great. Okay, super. So that's a bunch of responses. I think case studies is one. Why MBA after IIT? That's great. I think case study just stands out there, right? And what's consulting all about? Summer internship. Okay. Does college PORs matter? How to win case competitions? Okay. Great. Management consulting. Mhm. Job hunt framework. Wow. Okay. Let's tackle some of these. Okay. So I'm just going to note down what I think is relevant. So let's just select few things. Okay, so we'll cover case studies in this for sure. We'll cover how to crack a job. Great. Social impact consulting. That's interesting. Let's also talk about that. Okay. Because a lot of you are also in that phase where you're trying to understand. I'll also speak a little bit about what the job is all about. Okay. And where can you build these skills, right? Let's talk a little bit about uh, even case study competitions and stuff. Okay, super guys, this is very helpful. Let's go back to our presentation. Okay, cool, fine. So I think one of the questions which came across was, why MBA after IIT, and also how to, even crack a job. Um, so everybody has their own personal journey, right? So like for instance, at McKinsey, we say everyone has their own my McKinsey story, and likewise for everyone doing an MBA, there is their own my MBA journey story. I'll give you three reasons why people do an MBA, and I'll also give you why I did an MBA. For most, after doing an undergrad at an institute like an IIT, uh, you typically land up in jobs which are, let's say, software engineering or product analyst, product management, or some kind of business analytics at a startup, or some kind of core job. It could be a mechanical core engineering job, or it could be civil, whatever, right? So these are the 4 or 5 job paths. Now, typically, when you're doing that job for 1 2 years, you end up realizing that, is this really what I want to do? And when you start questioning everything in life, one simple way of solving that thing is just go back to school, right? Which means go back to an MBA, and which gives you an option to sort of figure out what you really want to do. Gives you 2 years time to spend in figuring out if, let's say, you want to do consulting, you want to do investment banking, you want to do anything else, you want to build your own startup, for instance. It just gives you time to think, right? That's one, is time to think. And second, MBA is like a all-in-one toolkit, guys. It's like it just gives you that bit of sharpness in your life. For instance, let's say you are someone who's very good in analytics, is very good at doing things, solving the hard problems, but you're really not good at, you find it tough to communicate an answer, right? You find it tough to communicate your thoughts. And MBA will give that toolkit to become a better communicator. On the contrary, let's say you are someone who's able to solve things, but is finding it difficult to implement the right things to actually solve it. What that means is that you just have a laundry list of things that you want to do, but you don't know how to do it effectively. So MBA also gives you frameworks to just think through, right? How to make your thinking better. So that's just one way an MBA would also help you. And to actually summarize all of this, right? A lot of us are motivated by just three things. One is a good career, second is money, and third is personal things like family, right? So MBA gives you good career options, yes, in terms of post careers. Like you wouldn't really be able to do, let's say, a job like management consulting typically from an undergrad, right? Or secondly, it also gives you money, right? And most of us who are on this call probably are blessed to have great jobs outside of campus, but some of us really want to go one level ahead in terms of life, in terms of making money. So that's where an MBA would also be useful in getting those tier one bracket jobs, bulge bracket jobs like management consulting, private equity, etc., where you could actually make money. And third is in terms of personal, right? So maybe it's a degree that you are aiming towards for a tag. Maybe it's a degree where you're aiming towards it helping you become a well-rounded individuals for all the points which I mentioned below before about communication or structuring thoughts. Or maybe it's just about having a great learning experience, right? That's how typically I would look at it. For me, the reason why I did an MBA was I was very sure that down the line I want to build my own thing in India. And the way I looked at it was, after having worked for 2 3 years, I just wanted to have an experience where I am in the classroom again and having a great time learning and also building a network, so that when I start my own thing later on, this network of relevant folks would also help me. And secondly, this degree would also help me when I'm starting my own thing, right? And that's the intention why I did an MBA. And the reason I also chose consulting was because for me, I just wanted to do something straight out of college which would help me hone my problem solving skills so that one day when I do my own thing, I am much more well structured. And secondly, it also builds on that network factor, right? A job like McKinsey gives you an option to build a very strong network in India. It is a network of really high performing individuals who would obviously help you when you're doing something of your own, or would also help you mentor you, right? That mentorship and coaching is what really appealed to me. That's the reason why I got into an MBA and why I joined McKinsey for now. And typically, just so that consulting is, people don't generally spend their lifetimes in consulting. It's usually a transient job because it's a very demanding job, which means you would have to work a lot in the time that you're here. But in that time that you're here, you build a lot of skills, right? That's like a multitude of skills. Skills specifically about problem solving, skills specifically about, just structuring and communicating. Okay, so we are now, I think, 20 minutes into this talk. I will just, before we get into the case solving part, I just want to give you guys a little bit of flavor as to what is problem solving. Okay, so just a few key perspectives, and we'll see this live in action as well. So a lot of what I talked about earlier is essentially how one would go about in thinking, right? So let's say your objective is simple. Let's say your objective is to plan this meeting for consulting enthusiasts, this workshop, right? So an important element would be, firstly, with anything, is defining the problem. It's important to understand what we are solving, right? So in this case, maybe the organizers thought that the problem was, okay, we have to organize a meeting. Who is the audience? What do they want to know? They want to learn more about consulting. Okay, so let's decide who we want to call. uh, the audience is also interested in learning about what kind of job opportunities are there when someone thinks about consulting, so let's also call someone who's knowledgeable about that. And let's say the organizer also thought that this should be a 40-45 minutes meeting, so let's call someone who is able to condense all of this in this small time, right? So that's simple. That's the kind of first principle, basic common sense thoughts that come into your mind. Second is, always structure your thoughts. You would also notice, and this is something that even I am learning, or everybody is learning in a evolving way, is that ensure that you are able to communicate in a way that it's simple enough for the other person to understand, which means you have to just structure. One way of structuring is use basic first principles, right? Just use common sense. What is the person wanting to hear about? And once you have that idea, take a pause, take 10 seconds to think, and ensure that you structure in a very messy way. Okay, what is messy? Messy is nothing but mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, right? So what that means, okay, again, a bunch of jargons, but what that simply means is, let's say you're telling 3 points, right? Point A, point B, and point C. Point A, point B, and point C should be so well defined that point A is not like a subversion of point B, right? Point C should not sound like a remade synthesis of point A and B. We'll get into a very specific example. Right now, it's all in the air, I understand. But that's also important. And the third thing is, use an issue tree, right? What that means is, just the way I said A, B, and C, right? So build that A, B, and C, right? So that you build your tree as you dive deeper in each of these A, B, and C, right? So let's also just look at an example of that. Okay. Uh, okay. One way of sort of helping folks to communicate and structure this better, and just to take a step back, folks, I use the word communicate and problem solve sometimes a lot in the same sentence. All problem solving is not going to be useful if you're not able to communicate, which means a lot of your energy goes into structuring things and helping that communicate better. And when you spend time in structuring, that's where you also evolve as a problem solver. So typically the way you would sort of communicate anything is to communicate with the main insight so that the audience understands, okay, this is what this guy is talking about. And then move towards the deeper insights in a step-by-step fashion, right? So first the main insight, then some smaller insights, and then you build that with supporting facts, right? That's how you would go about. A simple example, right? So let's say, uh, let's say a CEO, or not even CEO, let's say just a operations guy comes to an intern and asks the intern, you know, we are evaluating this e-commerce platform. Do you think we should go ahead with this, right? So the intern would do a bunch of analysis, ask a lot of questions, and finally comes with an answer, right? That answer should be able to give the listener, in this case, the operations head, a very brief and articulate insight as to what that person is thinking about, so that he has a picture in his or her mind, right? and then you can go ahead and give deeper insights. So in this case, the answer that would be simple by saying that implementing an e-commerce platform will increase the revenue by 25% next year. So you're essentially communicating that yes, you should implement, and secondly, this will there is a associating point to it, right? You will improve your revenue by 25% if you do this, but you also want to say why, right? So you have supporting points ready. So you're saying, hey, operations head, we could implement an e-commerce platform that will increase revenue by 25% because three things. Firstly, market demand. We have seen that 70% of customers prefer online shopping over in-store purchases. Second, cost efficiency. Just by opening online platform, we would reduce our operational costs as compared to having physical stores. And third, this will have untapped revenue growth opportunities, and which is also supported by our survey, right? And the survey shows blah blah blah. So the way you do this is essentially you give an impression to the listener that first, yes, you have an answer ready, and second, you have a lot of supporting points with you which help build that impression in the person's head. So that gives the listener a full story. That's a simple example. Okay, let's just take a step back. The reason I'm asking all of you to just do this or just understand communicating a lot better is because this approach of structuring is a very key critical skill. A lot of your questions earlier in the mentee diagram talked about, how to win competitions, how to crack a job, how to do all of this. Everywhere, right? Be it evaluating your case study for a case competition, or be it evaluating your interview, or be it evaluating your performance in the job itself. A lot of that has to do with the kind of communication you're doing, right? And this way of just communicating top down is just making it much easier for the evaluator, for the person who's understanding you, to comprehend what you're talking about in a much easier way, right? This is the way. And this act of structuring helps you realize that the problem solving itself is much more mature if you structure things down. Okay. Sorry, I heard someone speaking. Was there a question? Great. Okay. I'm unable to see your faces, so I don't know if there's a question. Cool. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, let's also now look into the example of being messy a little bit, right? So what I just illustrated to you was an example of structuring things. But an important element of structuring things is making sure the points are mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, right? In this example, which I just laid out, I spoke about three things: market demand, cost efficiency, and revenue growth opportunities. If you notice, none of which is actually speaking to each other, which means that the listener is able to understand that there are three distinct different elements of supporting arguments, and these three distinct supporting elements all collectively help me answer this point that yes, your revenue will increase by 25% because these three supporting things are all acting together. So all your points when you structure should be independent of each other, so that it does not confuse the listener. And lastly, they all should add together to give a very strong collective perspective of solving that problem, right? Let's do one exercise together, okay? Let's understand this better. Okay. So now let's say you're part, okay, let's say one of you is helping a software manager.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry,
was there any?
continue.
Okay. So one of you is helping a software product manager, okay? Just imagine a situation. Don't worry about the term software product manager. Just imagine a situation where a simple project, a software project is delayed, okay? Now you come up with this answer. Okay. Yes, Sarath, the software project is delayed because of the following four reasons. One, developer inefficiency. Four, team communication. Three, lack of resources. And four, delays in testing. Does that look messy to you? Does anyone want to volunteer and answer if that looks messy to you?
No, sir. Actually, no.
Sure, go ahead. Why?
So, can you just go to the
Yeah, of course.
points? Yeah. So the very first thing is developer inefficiency and poor team communication. Both are having union in each other. That means a developer can be a poor communicator, and thus his efficiency may go down. So there is no distinct point, means there is no proper distinguishable points in between these two. The second thing is lack of
Mhm.
resources.
Yeah,
So lack of resources is also not a valid point, because today we have seen that there are a lot of resources which are available to implement any kind of algorithm. So it is also that thing. And
okay,
again, developer inefficiency maybe due to causes delays in testing. So this is not being approached with Mies approach. Okay, you can
got it,
have.
got it. Thanks, Bhaumek. That was great
So,
response. Yeah. Go ahead.
lack of resources can also lead to delays in testing. Like, since we do not have the resources, that
Yeah,
because of that, we are not able to test the project. So, because of that, also, this is not a Macy approach.
got it. Great point, Hitakshi. First of all, guys, don't call me sir. Just call me Sarath. That's perfectly fine. Um, Bhaumek and Hitakshi raised very valid points. Very well done. I'll just take Bhaumek's answer first. So, Bhaumek, you correctly identified by saying that each of these points are not truly distinct in nature. For instance, developer inefficiency could be a result of someone having poor team communication, causing the developer to be inefficient, or it could be because of a lack of resources in the team itself, right? Likewise, Hitakshi also mentioned a similar point about lack of resources and delays in testing. One other perspective that Bhaumik you brought in picture was saying that lack of resources may not be the real problem, right? Folks, what you need to understand is when you're trying to structure an answer to a problem, your first principle approach is to just assume that anything and everything can go wrong. Don't come with a bias thinking that, okay, maybe this does not sound right. That's why this MECE approach is crucial, that you're collectively exhaustive as well, right? Even though the natural thing might be that, okay, maybe resources are probably not the reason, but just indicating a lack of resources also could be a problem, right? So the element of lack of resources is probably true, but how to sort of frame it is important, right? So let's just look at a answer which could be more messy in general, right? So let's go to the next step. So if I were to sort of, build an issue tree, when I say an issue tree, I just want to build how to break this problem of the software project being delayed into three simple points so that we can further deep dive and understand what those three simple points could further evolve into. So I would say these three things. One, it could be team related factors. Example could be the skill gaps in the developer itself, communication issues within the team size. That could be one. Second could be process related factors. Process related factors would involve, could you give examples of unclear requirements, inefficient workflows, some kind of bottlenecks during your testing process. And thirdly, external factors, right? So external factors could be your client requirements. There's some approval spending, some dependency on a third party, right? So this approach of dividing into three very exhaustive factors is exclusive fact and exhaustive factors is going to help you break this down further, right? So if I had to, just a second, just sharing my screen again, right? So the idea is that you have a delay, uh, right? You have a delay and you are essentially splitting them into the first point I mentioned, the second point I mentioned, and third point, right? So team, external, and the third one was, second one was process, right? Excuse my handwriting. So you want to start solving this problem by first dividing into three aspects, and then what you can further do is, right? So what you can further do is go one level down each and again split these, right? Let's say you get a sense that the answer is probably lying in this territory. Then you first split them down, then you further split it on a developer or maybe team size. Team size could be one thing. Then it could be also be team within team communication, right? So if the within team communication is the real problem, you further take this and then you further divide this, right? So this idea of using an issue tree to split these things down and then further hypothesize, which means you have some information which suggests that maybe A is the reason. You further deep dive on that. That approach of structuring will help you build a very strong answer, or will also help you think better. And you're able to think and even think about the things which you could probably miss out. That's the intent. Okay. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Yeah. Okay. Can you? Okay. Great. Any questions so far in what we just did, folks? Okay. One more point I want to mention is, if being truly mutually exclusive and collective exhaustive is probably very ideal. It's a path to perfection, right? I mean, you can never be truly mutually exclusive and collectively exhausted. But just having that frame of mind, right, of being mutually exclusive and collectively exhausted, just helps you think better and helps you communicate better. So you problem solve better and you also structure better. Just having that bent of mind is important. Okay. So, folks, this is, by the way, folks, all of consulting, right? All of problem solving, even product management, anything which involves structure is just a derivation of this fundamental thing of structuring your problem statement correctly. Right? Anything that we have done so far, I've done product management so far, I've also done consulting. It's just a derivation of this. You have multiple frameworks which just help you structure better. For example, your Porter's 5 forces, or you have frameworks like, profitability, or frameworks like market entry. All of them are just derivations of how to structure things better. But the underlying principle is just first principles and better structuring your thoughts, right? So in that spirit, right, let's do a sample case. Folks, anyone wants to volunteer to do a sample case with me? The idea is to just go through a problem statement that maybe a client is facing, and let's the both of us just try to help the client solve it. Okay, anyone wants to volunteer to that? Okay,
Sure.
Okay, we have multiple volunteers. I'm unable to check the screen. Khan, if you could just help me pick someone, right?
Okay, I'll just okay. I'll just pick one.
Actually, but I can see them now. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I think with Shashank, how do you want to try? I can see that you have not spoken so far.
Yeah, I would like to try, brother.
Okay, super. Can you just give me a bit of a brief about what are you doing? Are you a student? What's the scene?
I am a first year undergrad at IIT Guwahati.
Okay, super. So that means you are almost 9 years junior to me. Okay, great. I joined IIT College in 2015. Great, nice to see. And given that you're also in your first year, it's great to see the enthusiasm coming here. What we're gonna do now, Shashank, is just help a confectionery company, okay, and help that confectionery company understand how to solve their current situation. Okay. By the way, for all of those who raise their hands, right, Bhaumik, Hitakshi, and others, you're also going to help us solve this problem. We'll ask Shashank to first give his thoughts, and if anyone wants to add to that thoughts, please feel free to pitch in. Okay. It's almost 5:07. Let's restrict the next 15 minutes in solving this. Okay. So that means around 5:20 or 5:25, we'll take a stop. Great. So your client is a leading confectionery company. They have seen an instant dip in orders just following a major festival day. Okay. Let's help this company understand what could be the root cause and provide recommendations. Okay. So Shashank, you want to just take a minute to think about this?
Yeah, just give me a minute to think about this.
Okay, super. The rest of the folks on the call also just think about how do you want to go about this. So just to help you folks think, the problem statement is very broad and general, right? Very vague. So feel free to ask questions, as many questions as you want to make this more clearer. And the idea is not to jump into this with an answer straight away. You have to build your answer. And building your answer means you have to structure your thoughts. And to structure your thoughts, which means you have to ask the right questions to help you structure your thoughts, right? That's the way we want to solve this.
What does
So when
confectionery company means?
Sure. So confectionery company is someone who makes sweets, chocolates, right? It could be someone like a Dairy Milk, Cadbury, which just makes Dairy Milk, eclairs, Silk, and so on, right? Someone like that. Or it could also be a company like Haldiram's, which makes sweets and stuff. That's a confectionery company.
like this is happening. Can I ask a question
Yeah, feel free to ask as many questions as you
regarding
want.
this? Okay, so the company that you are talking about, like it has been facing this decline just this year or every year, and during which festival? Is there any specification about the same?
Okay, great. I'll keep that question in mind. I also want to give our friend Shashank a little bit of time to just think of his initial questions, and then I'll start answering them.
Sarath, is
Yeah.
the drop in sales, is it from the online platform or from the offline segment? Like, where is the sales? On what platform?
Okay,
And even
great.
is it for a particular product or the company as a whole?
Okay, great. So, folks, I think I noted down 4 questions. The first question was, sorry, Kahan, you mentioned the first question, right? Can you repeat that? Sorry, whoever asked me the first question, when I asked them to pause for a moment, can you just repeat that? Okay, great. I seem to have lost you. Okay, so one question was, where have we seen this loss? Was it online or offline? One question was, what kind of products have we seen them? Okay, these are 2 which I noted down. Any other questions? Yeah, is it recent, right? Yeah. Sorry, I
have
just
one
noted down.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this decline being faced in just this confectionery or every confectionery surrounding that area or the leading ones? Like, is it
Okay,
specific to this company or every other company is facing this as well?
super, great. Let's now answer each of these questions, and then you can take a next step in figuring it out. Okay. First question is it recent or has this been usual phenomena? We've seen that this confectionery companies actually had great sales throughout the year. It's just that on this particular festival day, we saw an instant dip in orders. It's an instantaneous dip, right? Just on that day, it fell down. Second, does the company have both online and offline channels? Yes, the company has both online and offline channels. Yes. And third, is this only on one product? The company primarily manufactures just chocolates, so it's on that chocolate product. Okay. And is this decline specific to this company or other companies? No, it is. The other companies are doing as is, which means they're doing equally well, or they're doing better. Whatever was their status in the market is continuing. It is not relevant to them. The decline is specific to this company. Okay. So that we just
Yes,
don't go
one more
into
question.
just one moment. Just so that we don't go into a lot of chaos, I'll just request Shashank to ask the next question. Okay, go ahead.
Has the company changed something in its production that is causing the decline in the sales? Some
Okay.
recent recipe change or production change?
Okay, so no changes in the production. The recipes, everything is all the same as before. You had also
I
asked
had
me about. You had also asked me
Product
about. Yeah, sorry. Just one at a time, folks. Go, Shashank. Actually, I'm not able to see the people who are speaking. One moment. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I would like to ask, is the distribution channels through which the confectionery is being sold, are they damaged or are they normal?
Okay. Who's speaking by the way now?
Shashank.
Okay. Hey, Shashank. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that you had asked a question about online versus offline. The company has stores both online and offline, and we are seeing an overall decline, but majorly in the online channel. Okay. So
Okay.
specifically to online. And second, you asked me if we have distribution channels, right? And if they're all performing well. So you got an answer, right? We have 2 distribution channels, online and offline.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, is there any specific event going or something problem going on regarding the specific branch? Like something happened in the uh, selling on the store, like someone bad behave with customers or some bad product has been received by the customers? Any such type of event has occurred in that specific city, or
Okay.
are you getting what I am trying to convey?
Yes. No such bad event. Also, just one quick feedback, right? So when you are trying to ask questions to the person, right? In this case, me, or in this case, anywhere else, yeah, try to structure your questions also, which means that, let's say your questions all fall into one category, right? If that category is, let's say, something to do with bad events, then that's one category. If the questions have something to do with distribution, then that's one category of distribution. So try to give categories so that the interviewer, or rather anyone who's with you in this case, is able to understand the full picture. Okay. So that's it's not a specific feedback to anyone. It's just for everyone also. Okay, go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
Sarath, I had a question.
Yes.
So, you told us that we had a dip in the online channel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, following up, I feel that there could be a problem for user to place order, or even make the payment. So, what I believe, there could be a problem in the user journey while they are ordering online. So, is this the case?
Okay. Could you just repeat your name?
Shreyash.
Okay. Hey, Shreyash, great insights, by the way. So let's now, with whatever we have all come to answer so far, let's just structure this down. Okay. So we have seen a decline in sales, right? That's the main root cause. So let's see what we all thought of, right? Let's just understand this better. So we looked at the different channels. Sorry. Okay. Just bear with me, guys, while I'm solving this. Okay.
Sarath, one more point I have. May
Yeah.
I? May
Yeah,
I?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So basically, your question is very proper. Means the sales was declined during the one festival season. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the main reason is every confectionery company has a different products during each and every festive seasons
Okay.
to boost their sales.
Yes.
So you can take a Cadbury, you can take a Mool, you can take any example. Okay.
Yes.
And the thing is, this company does not have the product segment which would be able to cater the demand during this festival season. And thus, it is very important that the decline in the sales is due to do not have a product segment particularly.
Okay. Okay. Great point. Sorry, what was the name again? Sorry?
Bhaumik.
Okay, Bhaumik, great point. Okay. Folks, just requesting everyone to now just focus on the whiteboard. Just bear with the handwriting. So, folks, all of you try to approach this in multiple ways, right? So we saw that sales have reduced. So you asked a few preliminary questions to get a sense of why the sales reduced. You found out that one, it was an instantaneous dip on that particular day. Second, you found that the sales was specifically in the online channel, it took a lot more dip. And thirdly, you also found that, you know, the company only makes primarily chocolates, right? So the way you could go about in solving this is one of many, right? So I'm giving you possible approaches to sort of just think through. One is, of course, the channels, right? So when I say channels, you are further just making this messy by saying, okay, two channels hai, distribution channels, online, offline. Okay, that's one approach. Okay, let's stick to this for a moment. So online and offline hai, and now you're looking at which particular channel took the more hit. You found that online took the more hit. So let's deep dive on this. That's one approach. Some of you folks also thought about the value chain, which means, is there an issue in the manufacturing? Sorry, just bear with me. Yeah, is there an issue with the manufacturing? Then is there an issue with after manufacturing? If there's a issue with, let's say, transport, then is there an issue with distribution, right? That's one approach. Okay, this is one approach. This is called a value chain approach, by the way. Okay, that's one. Then some of you also thought about the product mix, right? If the company was, let's say, producing more than one product, then if it's like chocolates, or if it's like sweets, or if it is like cakes, then what is the product, where's the problem, and further deep diving on that. All are valid approaches, by the way. In this case, the product mix approach may not be as relevant because you only have one product, but all are valid. But for the sake of just moving this case forward, let's go with the first approach of online versus offline. Eventually, we'll all land up at one of these approaches, but let's just go with this online versus offline. So I found Shashank and I think Shreyas talking about this approach. Shreyas, okay, let's take your approach of online versus offline. You mentioned something, right? Let's stick to that. Go on.
Yeah, so I was saying, if our offline channel is doing better or like normal, and we see a sudden dip in online, so
Yes.
there could be multiple reasons behind that. So I would
Yes.
like to explore those reasons. So one of the
Super.
reasons could be there could be that user is facing some blockages in one of the
Okay,
steps.
just pause. Okay, great approach. Now you're getting into a mode of giving me a laundry list, right? Just stop for a second and see if you can structure your thoughts into something A, B, C, D, right? So maybe you use the word user journey or customer journey before. Just think about what the customer journey could be so that we are able to structure this thought. Fine. Just think and answer back.
So can I add here in the online
Yeah, of
list?
course. Go on.
It can be due to changing customer preferences. Like the customer preference may change every day. For example, it's a chocolate. Today I would like to have a dairy milk. Tomorrow I would like to have a 5-star.
Okay.
Just an instance.
That's fair. But if that's the case, maybe the same laws should have been in the offline store as well, right? If the customer preferences itself have changed.
Hello.
Can you hear?
Hello.
So
Yeah.
so maybe because of search engine
Hello.
optimization.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me?
What do you? Yes. Someone's trying to speak.
Yeah, yes, my name is Anjali Singh. I
Yeah.
also have this one perspective on this situation. There might be a situation that the service of that confectionery shop, especially in the online mode, was not good during the festival. Maybe they might have given holidays to their staff, so the delivery might not be on time. So that experience ki wajah se the customers are not ordering
Okay.
to that confectionery shop in future. This can be
Great.
one thing.
Great points. Folks, everyone is giving great points, but I just need someone to just structure them so that we are able to, look at these A, B, C, D points and then deep dive further. Okay. So I think Shreyas, you were on the right train. You said something about the customer journey. Do you want to list out a customer journey?
Yeah, so I would want to further split out the customer journey. I would want to cross question you on what were the steps that user was not able to proceed forward. So for this, what I would do on any general day, what is the step-by-step percentage people go? Like they search for the product, they add to cart, and they check out. For the simplicity of our understanding, I'm just taking three steps here.
Okay.
So
Great.
I just want to understand from step 1 to step 2 and from step 2 to step 3.
Great.
Was
Super.
there
Just
any issue?
take a pause. Yeah, take a pause. Super. I think that's one way of structuring. Let's just think of this way. Okay. And I will also answer why whatever everyone just also suggested, right? Why everything also fits into this structure. Okay. So you said something like customer search, right? So let's just call it as God, wait a second. Yeah. Let's just call it as search. So again, excludes the handwriting. Search is one. That means it's discovering. Then you land on the website. So you land on the website. Then you add to cart. Then you check out, right? That's a simple customer journey. Again, I'm struggling with the whiteboard, so just excuse the handwriting. It's search, website. You land on the website, then add to cart, and then checkout, right? So one of you was mentioning there could be a bad SEO, right? So that is one answer. But one step before that, if you're telling the listener that there could be four possible steps, right? It could be at the search level, then on the website, and then moving to the cart and then checking out. Then that person is able to think, oh yes, yeah, maybe one of the reasons could be search engine optimization, but there could also be a further reason elsewhere also. Just helps you structure, right? So this is search, website, cart, and checkout. So to give you more insights, the number of people who are searching for this particular company or are visiting website have not reduced, right? In fact, that has increased. Because it's a festival day, the number of people searching for this website and actually entering the website has increased. Okay. So that's one to answer. You have any other questions, Shreyas?
So if we are fine at step one and people are able to land on the website,
Yes.
so when it comes to ordering something,
Yes.
so I just want to understand from the people who are searching the products, and are they if let's say if we simplify this process, if we say we have 100 people who landed on our product page, and
Yeah.
on a normal day 50% of them convert. Like when
Yeah.
I say convert, I mean add to cart. Was there on this step, did we see any variance from the normal
Yeah.
day
So
percentages?
in fact, the number of people adding to cart compared to normal days increased.
All
So there are a
right.
lot more people adding to cart. Yeah, go on.
All right. So then it comes to the last step of checkout.
Yes.
So did we see any issues from people who added to cart and jumped to checkout? Did we see any fall of users
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. What we found out is that that people are trying to check out, but they're unable to do so.
All right.
Okay. So let's think about that. Okay. So just take a pause, Trace, in your thinking. So what we have realized, folks, is that the issue is at the point of checkout, right? Checkout, they are unable to actually proceed further. Now, can someone help structure what could be the potential further causes? Go on.
So,
Yeah.
so before
Hello.
we splitted these two sections, I just wanted to confirm that is there an actual problem with online or offline section? Like, is there a dip in online section or an offline section? We are analyzing this thing, but is
Yeah.
it
So
actually the problem causing? Is it the actual root cause? Like, what's the insight on that? Then we can
yeah,
structure it further downwards. But
absolutely.
let's
So
first see if it is a
yeah.
problem.
So I had clarified earlier that the dip in sales is primarily in the online. Okay, it's majorly in the online. Offline is doing relatively well. Okay. So
Okay.
that's the reason we looked at this online journey, and we further found out that customers are actually interested to buy, but then they're unable to proceed with the checkout. Okay. So let's see what could be the potential reasons. Go on. Someone wants to just take a stab?
If
Could
I
there be
may,
any?
Yeah, try structuring your thoughts, guys. So let's see if you can implement that when you speak.
so I have
Could
like
there
two
be any?
cases.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, Chess.
All right. So I have two cases. So when someone's try to click on the checkout, so
Yeah.
one reason could be when the person is clicking on checkout, does he gets redirected to the checkout page or not?
Okay.
To the payments page or not? Could be the payment option, card, credit, UPI, anything.
Yeah.
So one is that. So one assumption here is there could be some technical glitch because of which the user itself can't reach to the checkout page.
Okay.
Second assumption which I have, even after getting onto the checkout page, when the person selects the user payment method, be it UPI, when
Yeah.
they click it and when they click on it, are they getting redirected to that app or not? So these are the two reasons.
Okay, great.
And
So let's
okay,
take a pause. Yeah.
Shall.
Just a second. So Shreyas, the way you're articulating is in two aspects, A and B. A is you're saying that is the person even able to reach the payment stage? And second, if the person is able to reach the payment stage, is that person actually going on that payment gateway, for example, Google Pay, UPI? Okay, that's great input. Anyone else wants to structure this differently? You were saying something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey,
Yes, sir.
Sarath,
Yeah, just one at a time,
can
folks.
I
Yeah.
just ask one more question?
Yeah, before you do, I think there was someone trying to speak. I think it was a girl. Can you just speak?
Sarath, Hitakshi here.
Yeah, hi, Takshi.
I was just trying to say that in this checkout page, it can
Yeah.
be possibility that a person might realize that there's no cash on delivery option and hence they would not prefer using a UPI. So that may be the reason they'll realize that since they don't have a cash on delivery option, they might not buy.
How would you figure that out, right? So let's say we have found out that on this step of page of checkout, we're facing issues, right? What could be the possible things that you would want to structure this approach into, right? So you mentioned something like payment modes, right? That could be one option, yes. So that is one. What could be other things?
Mm, I'll have
Okay.
to think over it.
Great.
Delivery time.
Okay, great. So folks,
Sarath, can I give my points?
yeah, please do,
Please.
please do. Yeah.
Basically, in the checkout procedure, we have three sides. One
Yes.
is on our side, which is basically us redirecting our customers on the payment gateway or the
Yes.
payment platform. The second part is the payment platform, and the third side is the client side, right? So, majorly, what
What is
problem
what
I
is
can
third side?
the client side, the customer side.
Okay, go on. Yes.
So basically, what problem I can see is if our side is clear, right? We don't have any problems with our website, and if the client is ready to pay, then the only problem that is present is in the payment gateway.
That's a hypothesis,
Which
right? We don't know that yet. That's a hypothesis, right? But
yeah,
that's a good attempt at structuring. Great kudos to that. So let's just follow that structure for a moment, okay? So you're saying there are three possibilities. The first possibility is at the website, the company side, company. Second is at the payment gateway, and third is at the customer itself, right? That's a good way. Now, Hitakshi, to your point, right? Like where would your point sort of come in? No, so the way you're structuring should be is that you are one of the hypotheses that you have made, one of the answers that you mentioned something about the payment option being not there, right? So that would essentially fall into one of these areas itself. For example, it could fall either in the payment gateway or in the company. So you would then structure it something like this and then say that one of the options here could be payment options followed by delivery time followed by so on, right? So that's the way you could do it. That's how you could structure
Got
it.
it.
Yeah, but I think whoever gave me the structure, that's a great way of structuring. To answer your question,
In this
yeah,
breakdown, could we
yeah,
also include delivery, as in like
yeah. So
delivery
post
in the sense that are they able to
options.
enter the address, or how long is the delivery time
Yeah,
taking?
yeah. So think of it this way, right? All of that is basically the page where the person is entering information. All of that falls in the company spectrum, right? As in the website itself, right? So whatever is being shown to the user in terms of uh, options of payment, the delivery options, things like that, all of that is company driven. And then once that person actually proceeds with the payment option, then that person goes to the gateway. And then once that person goes to the gateway, then after trying to pay, that person might be having an issue at their own end, right? That could be your customer end. Maybe that person has less balance or whatever, right? But because it is a generic problem in nature, it's not specific to a customer. The issue in this case, in this particular example, was that the customers are unable to even go to the payment gateway. It's the website itself, right? And what's exactly happening is when the person is trying to enter things in the website, it crashes. Okay, the website is just terribly bad. It just crashes. Now that's the next step, right? Why do you think the website is crashing?
Because of the festival season, there might be multiple
Exactly.
people buying the same product. So the website is
Exactly.
crashing, and hence they are unable to make the payment.
Exactly, right? So even like a better answer, this is a great answer. A better answer would be this is crashing. There could be like multiple reasons. One reason is that the server load is an issue. Second is maybe the server load. Second could be that maybe there is a third party issue who's maintaining their website. So third party is unable to process and so on, right? But you're right. The issue in this case is that the server load was issue. There were too many people trying to purchase on that particular day, and therefore the company crashed, right? Website crashed. Okay, great guys. I think we have got to the reason that there's a server load and has crashed. Okay. Does anyone want to take a just volunteer and sort of first just give a recommendation to the client what they can do, and try to, when you give an answer, try to incorporate some of the learnings we had so far and just try to structure your thoughts. Okay. Does anyone want to give a volunteer? What would you recommend the client?
So by improving product mix.
Okay, so in this case, you're assuming that that only one product is being sold and that has a lot of server load, so that's why. But give a holistic answer, okay? That the company is just struggling to balance this load, right? So in that case, what kind of answers would you give? That could be one answer, but just give a holistic. Try to structure it better.
Increasing technical capacity to handle more visitor on website.
Yeah. Okay. Any more answers?
Outsource a third party website.
Okay, great. Great answers. The way you would want to make this like a what you answered is great answers. The way to make this more sharper, right, is to tell it in this way. Okay, that yes, Mr. So and so, the company has found that on a day of high load of visitors, the company website is crashing. We could resolve this by two ways. One is increase our own competency of maintaining this website, which means invest in more technical infrastructure, hire better engineers, or improve our own testing workflows, which simulate this high load. And the second way is we either outsource it to a third party, which will manage this website for us, and therefore we have to less invest in our own resources. And the second option we can evaluate by using a make versus buy, whether it is more expensive to actually have a third party or do it ourselves, right? That's how you would just summarize this. That's a sharper way of answering so that the client has a better perspective. Okay, folks, hope that made sense. We are at the top of the hour, but we can cover more content. Yeah, do we have more time or is this like 1 hour or so?
Yeah, one good solution that can be also there. By improving the technical efficiency, you can also improve the data storage. Means due to the high people usage, the website is not working properly, so crashing. So you can improve the data storage of that.
Absolutely. That could be a further deep down answer, right? So the way you could answer this is you first structure into multiple buckets and say that this bucket of handling the load better is also a function of having better data storage, right? So that way you can answer. So the idea is to say that none of the answers are wrong. Every answer is right, but to help the listener understand better, you can just structure it in a better way. That's all. Okay. I mean, all of this sounds like a lot of ABC, a lot of multiple steps, a lot of consulting yapology. But the idea is that just think from a perspective of how to improve what the other person is understanding. And just having a layer of A, B, and C, so on is just helpful, right? It does need not be A, B, and C, it can be anything, but just having a layer of breaking these things into MECE is always helpful. Okay. So we are at the top of the hour. We have one more case which we can go through. In case, I know it's been 1 hour, in case anyone wants to drop off, feel free to. But I'll just cover one more case and then just give my thoughts on what the future can hold for you, right? So let's do that. Let's do the second case very quickly. Okay. Now this is something that's very open-ended. Okay. Let's say your client is a leading IPL team. Okay. For simplicity, let's call it RKB. Okay. Now this RKB is willing to go for the auction this time and wants to have an auction approach. And they've hired us, you and me, to help them figure out their auction approach. Okay. Can someone very crisply answer what kind of questions you want to ask next?
What's the budget?
Yeah, I would like to know the financials first of how
Okay.
much budget do we have.
Okay, great. Budget is one. Next.
What kind of talents do we already have in our team before
Great.
moving towards the auction?
Brilliant. A talent that we already have. Great. Next.
What talent are we missing?
Okay, talent we have versus what we are missing. Great. Yeah,
What is our weaknesses
we have
till
to
now
deploy.
and in which part we need? Like we need a batsman, a bowler, or an all-rounder. So what is our weakness and what is our strength?
Okay. Versus what we want. So what you're saying is essentially same thing as talent we have versus what we're missing, you know?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Who could be the potential bidding, I guess, versus who are we bidding versus for our
Okay,
competitors?
Competitors, great. Okay, anything else?
Use of the past trends of the matches to select the players.
Okay, that's a potential way of doing things, but any other questions you want to ask before you suggest a way of doing things?
What is the present size of the squad?
Okay, fine. That in some way that is covered under who we have and whatever we're missing. Okay.
I think budget
Okay.
must have also covered, no? The budget we have.
Yeah, correct. Okay, great.
Fine.
How many bidders are there?
again, competitors. Okay, great. So we have come to a list of 3 questions, right? Let's say we have a budget of around 40 crores. Okay. We already have a squad of around 20. Okay, sorry guys, are you able to see my screen? Oh, you're just seeing my whiteboard, is
No.
it? Yeah. Can you see my
Now the
screen now? Yeah, sorry.
yes.
So we
Yes.
just put into 3 buckets. One was budget, talent, we have what we're missing, and third is competitors. Okay. So let's say we have a budget of around 40 crores and talent, we have what we are missing. We already have a squad. So we are allowed to have a total squad of 15 players. This is hypothetical, right? And we already have 12 players sorted. We are just looking for 3 players. Okay. Okay. And who are the competitors? We are bidding against 5 other teams who have less budget than us, who are around 20 crores each. Okay. Let's go with the next set of questions.
What are the core values of our team and which players do fit in perfectly?
Okay, that's one factor that you can look at. Fine. You're looking at synergy with the team. Great. That's one factor. Synergy with the team will also have, you said, values. Any other points about synergy with the team? Values is one. Then
Stats of the player, like how many batsmen, how many bowlers, and something.
super. So of these, to make it simple, we're looking for 3 players. In that 3 players, we're looking for 1 batsman, 1 bowler, and 1 all-rounder. Okay. 1 batsman, 1 bowler, and 1 all-rounder. Okay. We're looking for 1 of each. Okay. In synergy with the team, right? Let's just click on this. You said somebody said values of the team. Anything else? Playing styles could be one of them, right? So playing style. Okay. Anything else?
If we could just add a perspective about brand value of the team, which player could add
Brilliant.
more brand value and
Brilliant.
sales?
Brilliant. That's a very good point. So you could also ask, what is the broader purpose? Is it just, solving for the playing 11, or is it also brand value of the team, right? Brand value of the team. That's a great question. So the answer to that is yes, we also want to maximize brand value, because we have a set of 12 excellent players, but we want to double down on the maximizing the brand value. Okay. So to make this simple, folks, let's, in the interest of time also, let's reframe this problem to say that we are looking to buy 1 batsman, okay, in the auction, and we want to buy 1 batsman, and that batsman should also ensure that we are having a good synergy with the team and also maximizing the brand value. Okay. Now, what would be your auction strategy? How would you go about this?
First, we would rank our what I could say our priorities. We could rank our priorities. What we
Okay.
should look in a batsman.
Okay.
So
Great.
firstly, we could look at his stats. Then we could look if we have a captain. So has he played with the captain, or how is his communication with the captain? That
Okay.
comes under synergy.
Let's structure your thoughts. Okay. So you're saying we want to, one way could to look at the stats of the batsman. Okay. Next point is, you said how that person would have synergy with the team, right? Synergy with the team. Okay. That's one. Then what else would you look at?
Foremost, we should analyze what players are open in the auction to
Yeah,
buy.
excellent. So that's an excellent point.
And,
So what is our current
and
selection set, right? Who are our
and
players? Yeah.
and we should scout for the players. So we have a pretty good budget and we only have to buy 3 players, right?
Yes.
So we should scout upon players that have very high brand value, that are fan favorites, so that if we have them in our team, the brand value increases automatically.
Great. I think that's it, right? That's like broadly the answer, right? I mean, you can further give more color to it, but okay. Who answered this? What's your name? Sorry.
Siddharth Bora.
Yeah, hi, Siddharth. Okay, great. Do you want to now just take a step and whatever we just discussed, right? Can you summarize this, our approach, in the final answer?
So basically, we have have got a team RKB which has got 40 crores of budget and wants to enter the auction with the intent to buy three players: a batsman, a bowler, and an all-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to have players that have a good brand value and suit the team. All right, suit the members of the team and also satisfy the playing criteria as well as the ads and the brand we have to do. So we would like to enter the auction with looking for players who have a great fan following, a great we have oh sorry we would like to go with the players which have a great fan following and are also suited in the team basically.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great attempt, Siddharth. I think brilliantly done. Just a few points, right? I mean, if you want to make your answer even more sharper, right? I think you got your beginning correct, right? But what as people who try to think on the fly, what we normally do is we try to use some filler words or something where we try to just go off the track. So one way to avoid that is to even take a pause between your answer, think again, and then try to again structure your answer, right? So that's one way you can solve it. But great attempt at answering, great way of summarizing. Um, so essentially, folks, what we had was we had RKB who was in the auction, has a budget of 40 crores, was looking for a bowler, batsman, all-rounder, is competing with other teams, but the other competitors have lesser purse than this particular team, RKB. What that gives us is two insights. The first insight is that we have a higher budget, and second insight is that we had only looking for three players, right? Further, we found out that this team wants to maximize brand value and also wants to pursue a batsman with more energy. Okay. Which means that the answer to this is to look at two specific elements. The first is the statistics of the batsman, and second is the synergy with the team. And actually, third one is the brand value of that particular batsman. Is that person a fan favorite? So by meeting all these three criteria, we will shortlist the players who we want to go for, and we can maximize the budget against. Right? That's how you could answer this. Okay. So great, folks. I think great way of going through this. I know we went through this very quickly, but I hope this was helpful. I will just stop sharing, and I will just take the next 5 to 10 minutes to answer any pending questions. Okay.
Well, I have one question.
Yes.
Sorry, the first thing, just a minute.
Yeah.
So, hi, Sarath.
Yeah.
My name is Bhomik.
Yeah.
And I am someone who is not from IIT, not from NIT, not from IIM.
Yeah.
And I've been working with the mechanical designing of a product, consumer electronics products, and I have around about 5 years of experience. Okay. So I have a great experience in consumer side products, product management, and project management, and working with a wonderful company. But down the line, I want to expand my career into consulting, product management. Okay. Now it's time to move to a bigger players in the industry. So what kind of steps that I should take in next 6 months to be hired in one of the major players of the India or in the world?
Okay. Great question, Bhaumik. I'm happy to answer this. You can also reach out to me separately over WhatsApp or something. I'll put my number in the chat. I'm happy to take this more personally, but broadly to the benefit of everyone, right? In whatever stage you are, I think what you should evaluate is what is your next goal. In Bhaumik's case, the next goal is that he wants to move into a good product, a good consulting company, right? That's the next stage. Now, in that goal, what are the steps to get there, right? For someone like Bhaumik, given that he does not have a background in IIT-IIM, which means he has good work experience but wants to make himself more visible. So how do you make himself more visible? That's the first question. Second is, do you want to gain any additional degree, certification, etc., to make yourself more visible and also apply for the second company? And third, what is the criteria that these companies are looking at, right? So these three things broadly. I think to specifically answer Bhaumik's question, a lot of consulting companies nowadays are looking at expert consultants. So if you've already worked in the industry in mechanical and have some very good know-how in whatever you're working at, you can always apply to be an expert consultant. There are ways to do that. We can reach out and talk about that more better. Or the one other way is, why make a huge switch suddenly? Go incrementally, right? One incremental way is, in your existing company, try to find a function which you can meets your desire of kind of job, but is in the same company. That's one way. And then once you are in that role in that company, then you again after some time make that switch to a different job or a different company, where so that the steps that you're taking are not abrupt, right? So that they're more acceptable to that change. Right? That's one. But let's further deep dive on this over in person. I've just given you my number in the chat. Okay.
So
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.